He walked into the room and froze. His wife, on her knees, with his teenage son standing over her. The betrayal hit him like a bullet, but what came next shocked even the police. By the time it was over, 2 people were dead, and the real motive was buried under layers of lies, lust, and revenge. This case tore a family apart and left a trail of blood that still haunts the town today. This story isn't just about murder. It's about betrayal at the deepest level, the kind that doesn't just break families, it destroys them. A respected father, a loyal wife, a troubled teenage boy. From the outside, they looked like a regular family. But behind closed doors, secrets festered. Dark, twisted secrets that would eventually lead to a double homicide. And the most shocking part? The killer didn't snap in the heat of the moment. He planned it. Before we go further, make sure you subscribe right now. Because here, we don't just tell true crime stories. We dig into what really led to the bloodshed. If you love stories that unravel human darkness, family secrets, and psychological twists, this channel is exactly what you've been searching for. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's get into one of the most disturbing cases you've never heard of. Jason Turner was 42, a hard-working contractor based in Indianapolis. Built like a tank, quiet type, rarely showed emotion. Neighbors described him as strict but fair, the kind of man who kept his circle small and his home tighter. His wife, Alicia, 39, was a nursing assistant. Sweet, kind, always smiling at church. But people whispered. Not because of her, but because of her stepson, Malik. Malik was 18. Jason's son from a previous relationship. He moved in full-time after his biological mother passed from a sudden stroke. And from that moment on, something shifted in the Turner household. Alicia tried to play the mother role. She cooked, checked his homework, even defended him when Jason got too harsh. But Malik, he looked at her differently, not like a son looks at a mother. Jason didn't notice. He was always working, out before sunrise, back after dark. His focus was money, not family. But what was going on behind his back was something no man ever wants to discover. Jason started noticing the little things first. Malik was always around Alicia, always in the kitchen when she was, always laughing just a little too hard at her jokes. And Alicia, she started dressing differently at home, more relaxed, sometimes too relaxed. At first, Jason told himself he was overthinking it. Malik was just being comfortable, finally adjusting to the house. But then one night, Jason came home early from a job. Rain had canceled the site work, so he slipped in quietly just before 6 p.m. What he saw? Alicia and Malik sitting too close on the couch. The TV was on, but no one was watching. They jumped when Jason walked in. Alicia stammered something about just watching a movie. Malik barely spoke. Jason didn't say a word, but inside, he knew. That wasn't a mother and son moment. It was something else. From that day, Jason changed. He started coming home unannounced, checking security cams, sniffing Malik's laundry for perfume. The trust was gone, and the more he looked, the more he saw. It was a Wednesday night. Jason told them he'd be working late, but it was a lie. He had a feeling, a tight knot in his chest he couldn't ignore anymore. So he parked a few streets away, walked home, in the dark, silent. Around 10:45 p.m., he crept up to the window near the den. The curtains were slightly open. What he saw, his wife, kneeling in front of Malik. Jason froze. His blood ran cold. His hands started shaking. She wasn't just cheating, she was doing it with the boy Jason had taken in, raised, fed, clothed, his own stepson. He didn't kick the door down. He didn't shout. He walked away. But something broke inside him that night. He didn't sleep. He didn't eat the next day. He just watched them, smiling, laughing, pretending like nothing had happened. Jason was done pretending. That weekend, he bought a gun. Jason didn't confront them. He didn't even let them know he knew. Instead, he started planning. Every moment they shared, he memorized. Every lie she told, he noted. He even installed a hidden camera in the living room, capturing whispers, stolen touches, disgusting laughter. Jason turned cold, silent, focused. He bought a prepaid phone. He started texting Malik anonymously. At first, just vague threats. Then photos, screenshots from the hidden camera. Malik panicked, started pulling away from Marie. She begged him to stay, told him Jason didn't suspect a thing. But Malik couldn't sleep. He knew someone was watching. Then one morning, Jason offered Malik a ride to the gym. Malik hesitated, but said yes. Jason smiled. The trap was set. Jason drove in silence. Malik sat beside him, tense, uncomfortable. They weren't headed to the gym. Jason turned into an empty field just outside of town. Malik looked confused. "This isn't—" Jason slammed the brakes, turned to him, and asked, "Why her, Malik? Why my wife?" Malik froze, tried to laugh it off. "I don't know what you're talking about." Jason pulled out a pistol from under his seat, pointed it at Malik's chest. "This gun doesn't lie, Malik. I've seen everything." Malik's hands shot up. "It wasn't like that, Jason. She came on to me." Jason's lips trembled. "She raised you, Malik." And in a split second of rage, bang! The shot echoed through the field. Malik collapsed, bleeding, gasping. Jason stood over him, watched the life drain from the boy he once called his own. But he wasn't done. Jason got back in the car, drove straight home, calm, quiet, deadly. Marie was cooking in the kitchen. She turned and smiled. "You're back, so—" Bang! No words, no questions, no second chances. One shot to the head. She hit the ground instantly. Jason stood over her, breathing heavily, gun still raised. No tears, just a numb silence. He dropped the gun on the floor, walked outside, and waited for the police. Jason sat alone in the cold interrogation room. No cuffs, no words. Just a dead stare at the mirror in front of him. Detective Rowan entered. He'd seen killers before, but something about Jason was different. He didn't look evil. He looked empty. Rowan sat down and slid a file onto the table. "2 bodies, 1 gun. You called us yourself, so let's skip the games." Jason didn't blink. He simply said, "They betrayed me." Rowan leaned forward. "So you killed them?" Jason looked him in the eye. "My stepson was in my house and with my wife, doing that behind my back." Rowan didn't flinch. "Still doesn't give you the right." Jason's voice dropped. "I gave Malik everything. Raised him, protected him when his own father didn't want him." A tear finally escaped his eye. "And Marie, she held our marriage hostage, with lies, secrets. And now this?" Rowan opened the evidence file. "I get the betrayal. But premeditated murder?" Jason's expression hardened. "I didn't plan it." Rowan paused. "You brought a gun." Jason didn't answer. "Why not just leave them?" Rowan asked. Jason clenched his fists. "Because walking away doesn't erase the image burned into my mind. Because they didn't care if I lived or died. Because when I saw them, it killed me first." Rowan closed the file slowly. "You're going away for a long time, Jason." Jason stood up calmly and said, "That's fine. I've already lost everything." The courtroom was packed. Reporters, family, strangers. Everyone wanted to hear how this twisted love triangle ended. Jason sat in silence at the defense table, hands folded, eyes dead. Marie's sister sat in the front row, clutching a photo of her late sister. And Malik's biological father, who'd never been around, suddenly showed up with a lawyer, suing for wrongful death. The trial wasn't about facts. The facts were simple. Jason shot Marie, then shot Malik, then calmly called 911. But intent was the debate. The prosecution called it cold-blooded murder. The defense said it was a man pushed past his breaking point. They played the 911 call. The courtroom went still. They're dead. She was on her knee, with him. I couldn't unsee it. Jason's attorney painted a picture of betrayal, humiliation, and emotional collapse. He played up Jason's role as a provider, a father figure, a man devoted to a broken family that broke him, but the prosecutor was ruthless. Plenty of men get cheated on, she said, pacing. They don't pull the trigger twice. She held up the murder weapon. He drove home. He brought this. He loaded it. He aimed it. Jason didn't look at her. He just stared at the floor. After 3 days of testimony, the jury went to deliberate. They were gone for just 2 hours. When they returned, the entire room held its breath. The verdict? Guilty on both counts. First-degree murder of Marie Davis. First-degree murder of Malik Thompson. Jason didn't blink, didn't cry, didn't even flinch. Then came sentencing. The judge looked straight at him. Jason Taylor, for the murder of your wife and her son, I sentence you to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. Gasps, cries, silence. Jason was led away. No goodbye, no apology, just a ghost in handcuffs. Jason Taylor entered prison like a man already dead. No fights, no arguments, no emotion. He just existed. The other inmates knew his story. In prison, murderers don't get judged, unless it's who they killed. And Jason? He killed his wife and his stepson. The whispers never stopped. But Jason didn't care. He spent most of his time in the library, reading, writing, day in, day out. Then 6 months in, he started talking. First to a counselor, then to a prison pastor. What he said shocked even them. Jason confessed something no one saw coming. I planned it, not the murders. But I knew something was going on. I saw texts, photos, heard whispers. I didn't just snap. I waited. He said he knew for weeks before that night. He waited for the moment he could catch them red-handed. He wanted them to see him before they died, to feel his rage, to know the cost of what they did. He wrote it all down in a detailed journal, every thought, every step, even the guilt. And that journal? It didn't stay hidden for long. A journalist working on a book about betrayal and family murder cases filed a request. She got access to Jason's prison writings, and what she found went viral. Jason had written, I didn't lose control, I made a choice. Love didn't turn into hate, it turned into justice. The internet exploded. Some called him a monster, others called him a man pushed too far. Debates raged. Was it insanity, or a calculated act of vengeance? Meanwhile, in prison, Jason became something else, a symbol. Inmates came to him for advice. A few even called him the monk, because he barely spoke anymore and walked with his head down, like a man who had finally accepted his punishment. But just when it seemed like his story had ended, something surfaced. It started with a letter, mailed anonymously to the journalist who had published Jason's prison writings. No return address, no fingerprints, just 5 words scribbled on the front. You don't know everything. Inside was a flash drive. The contents? A video. One that had never been submitted as evidence, never been seen in court, never mentioned by Jason, never discovered by the police. The timestamp was 2 days before the murders. In the video, Jason is filming himself. Secretly. He's standing outside their bedroom door. And what the video captures is not just betrayal, it's coercion. Jasmine can be heard begging her stepson to stop, telling him it's wrong, telling him she'll tell his father. But he threatens her, manipulates her, even laughs. It wasn't an affair. It was abuse. And Jason knew. The texts, the photos, the whispers, he had seen them. But not in the way everyone thought. He thought Jasmine had betrayed him. He didn't see the fear in her eyes. He didn't hear the panic in her voice. Until it was too late. The journalist didn't know what to do with the footage. If she released it, It would destroy everything the public thought they knew. The monster husband would become something else, a man who got it all wrong, a man who killed not out of justice, but out of misunderstanding. She released the video, and the world flipped. Public opinion shifted overnight. Comment sections were flooded with, "He didn't kill a cheater, he killed a victim. He murdered his wife thinking she was the villain. This makes it worse. He didn't just take 2 lives, he misjudged the woman he loved." Jason was called back into interviews, but he refused them all. When asked by the warden if he wanted to make a statement, he replied, "No words can fix what I broke." 3 weeks later, he was found in his cell, unresponsive. A torn page from his journal clutched in his hand. It read, "I buried the truth before I ever pulled the trigger." Jason died with the world watching, not as a man seeking revenge, but as a man who got it wrong. What do you think? Did Jason deserve sympathy or condemnation? Was it justice or the most tragic misunderstanding ever caught on camera? Tell us in the comments. Your voice matters more than ever. And if stories like this grip you, dark, twisted, real, hit that subscribe button, because the next case is even colder. Thank you for watching.